My latest toy. This is a Thorn Beta 5 35 watt low pressure sodium street light. Certainly the most international of my security lights, given that this used to serve as a street light somewhere in England. And now it's lighting, the yard behind my garage and an unspecified part of what will hopefully, after coming civil unhappiness, be New Amsterdam. Does a very good job of lighting the area. 4,000 odd lumens. Find this cat. About double the amount of light that this 35 watt high pressure sodium fixture does. Of course, it wasn't originally high pressure sodium. This was a 150 watt pulse start metal halide, which, because I don't really use them much, and because stupid ED17 cram lamp, those fixtures are fairly highly overloaded with the original things, as opposed to 35 watt high pressure sodium, where it is barely gets warm. But yeah, and of course, unfortunately, for the time being, lamps for these are no longer made. But I've got more than a case, so yeah. Of course, I also have another one of these that I need to make a bracket for. This one I made out of a mixture of 1 inch and 3/4 inch Schedule 40 steel pipe. It's 1 inch going into the slip fitter, where I put a couple of wraps of tape to make it a bit bigger because it's some metricated size, don't remember exactly which, but a couple of wraps of bundling tape, and it'll fit quite well. And of course, it also provides galvanic isolation because the housing is die-cast aluminum, and that's steel, and that would be bad because galvanic corrosion. And then the main shaft is 3/4 inch, and I welded on some bits of U-channel here. Yeah, I know my welds aren't the prettiest. I'm out of practice. And, well, it works. And of course, also, this particular one has a electronic low pressure sodium ballast, which is frequency agnostic, so it doesn't give a monkey's toss about the fact that it's running on 60 cycles. I mean, I could generate 50 cycles to run it, but I then need to hook up one of my 50 cycle inverters to the power shed battery bank, because all of my 50 cycle inverters are 24 volt. But yeah, does the job. Even with its original the one that it came with, a British-made Zodian photocell. So yeah, and of course this isn't permanent. I may be relocating this fixture, which is why I've been taking this one down. And of course I take that down, it's going to be used somewhere else. So yeah, shiny. And of course, somewhat more politically incorrect light source. This 100 watt high pressure mercury Regent mini bucket light. Fairly rare fixture now, at least typical prices these things command on eBay are kind of stupid. This I just have as a light for some parts of the backyard. Does a pretty good job, actually. Even though this is only about 40 lumens per watt versus the 130-ish of the low pressure sodium. This has the advantage of the human eye is very well sensitive to the light these things kick out. This particular one has a General Electric ED17 lamp. Because one thing about these that makes them kind of annoying is they take medium base lamps, and those are a bit harder to source, especially nowadays. I haven't tried it. I think the A23.5 envelope marks may also work in these. I actually have a few of those. I should try that sometime. But I have a bunch of these ED17, so that's what I'm using. And of course, this cat again. Yes, you're crazy. Yeah, because there's a storm coming. Yes. And this is a 70 watt American Electric bucket light. Conversely to the annoyance of the Mercury mini bucket, this one takes Mogul base lamps, which aren't the easiest thing to find, especially nowadays. Fortunately, again, I have a decent stock, because of course I do. This one tends to be particularly loud, because these American Electric fixtures from the 1970s, 1980s, this particular one was made in 1985, use undipped ballasts, and so the core vibrates, and they're quite loud, as you can probably hear, I don't know, depending on the noise of the wind. As opposed to that one, way in the distance, that is... forget which one that is. It might be a Lithonia, I don't remember. If it is, that's one that I got on clearance for 12 bucks from Home Depot about 6 years ago. And of course that one takes medium base lamps, which are much more common. Although they both produce the same amount of light because the arc tubes are more or less identical. And of course it is power factor corrected. Yeah, it's kind of hack. There's a bare capacitor down there, but yay, stroboscopic bars. But again, this is all temporary and experimental, and plus it's out of the reach of normal people. So electrocution hazard is minimal. But again, do as I say, not as I do, because, you know, crazy experimenter. And the cat again. He's weird. And a 50-watt American Electric HPS flood. And this one, focus, you humper. Come on. Need to clean the lens on this camera. But yeah, and another interesting thing about these American Electric fixtures is that they don't use tapped ballasts and 3-wire igniters. They both use, focus you, they both use straight up chokes with no intermediate taps, and 2-wire, what is known as superimposed igniters, so electrically they're more complicated. There's about half a dozen parts, including probably unobtainium now, trigger transformer, kind of a bigger version of what you'd see in focus. Kind of a bigger version of what you'd see in xenon strobes for camera flashes and the like. Yes, cat. $100-watt Lithonia Merc there. Just lighting part of my solar field. And a 175-watt mercury bucket light over there. That's actually one of my first HID fixtures in the collection. I got that on clearance in May of 2008 or thereabouts. April or May, one of the two, from Wally World for $12.99. Of course, I was an idiot and I didn't buy another one. So that's the only one of those that I have at this time. Note, at this time. And windy with a lot of nasty looking clouds up there. Yep. Focus, you. Tiger.